Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Unabstracted. Here we keep unabstracting new concepts so that it could help millions of developers around the world. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. So today we are going to see the transfer file mechanism, wherein we will see how we can transfer the files from your local file system to the AWS SFTP server. So without any delay, let's start the video. So first of all, let's move on to our today's video agenda. So today we are going to create a new SFTP server in AWS. I'm going to show you how to do that. Then we will create S3 bucket and IAM roles that will be required in the SFTP server. In the third section, we will see the Python code to transfer the file. And in the ending part, we will see how we can log into the SFTP server and check if the files have got transferred or not. We can also verify that in our S3 bucket. So now let's move on to our AWS console. So now we are in the AWS homepage. In order to create the SFTP server in AWS, head in the search and type transfer family. So there you go. This is the AWS transfer family service. Let's click on that. Now let's go ahead and create a new server here. We will select the SFTP server, which stands for the SSH file transfer protocol. Click on next. We will select the service managed since we want AWS to manage everything for us. So now click on next. Here in the endpoint configuration, we will select a public accessible endpoint, okay, so that we can access it from anywhere. And if we need to select VPC hosted, in that case guys, we need to make sure we have the VPC, the subnets, the internet gateway, and also the security groups. So we will just ignore VPC hosted as of now. We will make use of the publicly accessible, which is over the internet, anyone can access. Click on next. So here in the domain or the storage type, we will choose as Amazon S3. Okay, since we don't have any S3 bucket as of now, so we are going to create that very shortly. But our storage or the file system is going to be S3 for the SFTP server. Click on next. Here we want in the logging section a log group to be created for us that will be managed by AWS. Okay, coming to the next section is the managed workflows. We are going to skip it as of now. On the cryptographic algorithm, by default we will leave as 01/2024. We will leave the server's host key and private key as it is. Okay, and our other options we will leave by default. Click on next. Let's go on and create our server. So I will pause the video guys until the server is in up and running condition. Okay, now we have the state of the server as online. And here you can see that we don't have any users yet. Okay, so our next step is going to be creating the users. Okay, before going there, let me do some cosmetics. I'll just rename the server name here. But public server. Good. Let's go inside the server details. Okay, we can see the protocol SFTP service managed and all sort of stuff. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create a user for this SFTP server. So let's go ahead and create. Now you can see guys that we have the username. We need to enter the username, roles, the directory, okay, and the SSH public key. Okay, so we don't have any of these with us. Okay, so let's go ahead and create the S3 bucket, the public keys, and the role for the same. Okay, I am here in the S3 bucket console. Let's go ahead and create an S3 bucket. Let's name our S3 bucket. I'll give unabstracted bucket. Rest everything will be as it is, so we leave it to defaults. Head and create the bucket. Okay, so we now have our bucket in place. Okay, great. Now let's go ahead and create the role which this transfer family will be using to transfer the files, okay, to this particular S3 bucket. So how it happens, guys, when we do an SFTP, or under the hood it is an SSH itself, our request goes to this particular transfer family or the SFTP server, and from there the request gets transferred to the S3 bucket. So we need to create role or policy that allows transfer family to write or read files from the S3 bucket. So let's move ahead and create the role for the same. So here let's create a role. We'll select an AWS service because we are, it's not for an account or a user, it is for service. So which service? So this is a transfer family. So just search for transfer. There you go, transfer. Click on next. And here, let's do one thing, guys. Let me create a managed policy, okay, which I will be using in this role. So let's move ahead in the policies under IAM. Okay, let's go ahead and create a policy. So this is going to be a resource based policy. I'll select a service. So this is going to be S3. And what I'm going to do is, guys, I am going to allow, okay, in the effect, and the actions is going to be everything. Okay, so let me put everything in place. And what I need to do is, the resource that I want to select is going to be my bucket that I created just now. So let me go ahead and paste the bucket here, bucket name. So go to properties, copy the ARN policy, and then paste the ARN value. There you go, ARN. Okay, looks good, everything. Click on next. Policy name, we will give unabstracted SFTP to S3 policy. Go ahead and create the policy. Let's go ahead and view the policy, guys, because we need to do a minor change over there. Let's go on edit. Okay, we can remove this part. This is not required because it says on the resource star, so we don't need this. I think this is enough. So we say that the effect is allow and action is everything, S3, and the resource is going to be the bucket itself and the objects inside the bucket. So what we are going to do is, we are going to make the resource object as a array and copy this and paste over here again with /star. So that means we are not only accessing the bucket but also listing the bucket, copying the objects, and modifying the objects inside the bucket. So we will be able to do all sort of operations inside the bucket also. So this is what it implies. So let's go ahead and click on next and save the changes. So there we go, we have created the policy. Now let's refresh this role of roles. Now since we have created our own policy, let's go ahead and search for our policy, abstracted SFTP S3 policy. Well, let's see once what we have got. You can see guys, we have the effect allow with action s3. Okay, star, that means we can do any operation on s3, read, write, put. Okay, and to an resource with this one, with this bucket. Okay, now let's go ahead and click on next and give the role name. I'll tell unabstracted SFTP role. Be good. And then create the role. Very good. We have the role created. One thing that we need to see, verify, is on the trust relationships. So this principal service should be transfer.amazonaws.com, guys. This is very important. So you keep a note of this. Now let's go back to our SFTP add user. Okay, let's refresh this page once again so that our role and bucket, everything appears. Let's enter the username as unabstracted user. If I could spell very correctly. Now we need to select a role. Yes, you can see that unabstracted SFTP role appears here. Let's select that. Policy, guys, we have already applied in the role, so we don't want any inline policy here. Now we move ahead and choose the S3 home directory. So let's choose the bucket that we created, and we don't want the home folder to be any other folder, so we just want this bucket, okay, to be our home folder or home directory. Next, we want to create a public key. So for that, let's go ahead in the terminal and create our SSH key. Okay. So in order to create the SSH public and private key pair, we head to the terminal and type SSH keygen and hit enter. So guys, it says generating the public private RSA key pair, okay, and it wants the file name where we have to save. So I am going to give the directory where currently I am in. So it's home box 17 project tp transfer, and then I would give the file name as id underscore rsa. Looks good. Let's go ahead and hit enter. You don't want any paraphrase here, so let's keep an enter here. Again, same paraphrase as enter, and there you go. Here we have generated the RSA key pair. So let's do an ls here and check. There you go, guys. Here we have generated the id RSA and id RSA pub. So our public key, and this is our private key. Now what we are going to do is I will copy the public key from generated one and paste over here in the SSH public key. Okay. So why I'm doing this is, guys, so this server needs to validate or authenticate the incoming requests, okay, from the user. So I have given the, or I have copied and pasted the public key here, okay, and I will try to log in to this server using my private key. So in that case, the SFTP server will know that yes, this user is a valid user who wants to connect to the SFTP server. Now let's go ahead and click on add. We have successfully created the user. And if you see, guys, here the server host keys, so please ignore this as of now. Okay, so now we have created the user. You can see the home directory, which is our unobstructed bucket, and the role attached to it, and one public key. Now let's move ahead to the next step, where we will cover the Python code. So that Python code will actually help us transfer the file in our local file system to this AWS SFTP server. So here I am in the same directory, guys, SFTP transfer, and you can see I have the file sftp transfer.py. Okay, so let me very quickly explain you what it does. So we are using Paramiko as our SFTP client to transfer the file. Now this is small function which checks whether the string is empty or not. I have created a custom bad configurer which raises when if there is an error. This is a simple SFTP config class which takes into account all the details required for the SFTP server. So like the host name, port, public key, username, password, private key, the destination directory, and destination file name. Okay. Then I create another SFTP transfer handler class. So this class, I've created an instance variable which is nothing but a composition of this particular SFTP config class. Okay, and here we are going to enter all our details, okay, one by one. So that I'm going to do in some time. And next we create the SFTP client, okay, using these values. So in the SFTP client, guys, what we are doing is we are creating a transport class, which is nothing but a class within Paramiko used for transporting the data. So we pass in the hostname and port, create a transport class, and then we connect to the SFTP server. Okay, so we pass in the host key, username, password, and the private key. Okay, so in the private key, guys, what we are doing, we are checking whether the file is empty or not, and then we are retrieving the RSA class. I will share this code with you. Okay, I have a GitHub repo. I'll create a GitHub repo and I will share the link in the description. So you please go and have a look. And if you have any doubt, then you can raise comments. So now, guys, I am going to place one by one all the details related to the SFTP server. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So our host name is going to be the endpoint here. So let's copy this and paste over here. Good. Next, port is our 22, since SFTP works on SSH itself behind the scenes. Host public key. So host public key, we will not give anything as of now because we will be validating or authenticating the user using our private key. So this method or this way which I'm presenting, guys, this is not the production level code. Okay, so this is just a development level code where you will be able to see the code working. Okay, so if you want this code to be your production level code, then you do write the comments, guys. I will let you or help you on writing the code which is very sophisticated and could be deployed in the production environment. So let's go ahead and put in the username. So we have the username as unobstructed user. See that? I'm very lazy, guys, so I'm just copying and pasting it very quickly. On the password side, so we are doing SFTP, I mean SSH authentication, so we don't want a password here. Next, coming to the private key, yes, so this private key authentication we are going to do. So you remember we created this SSH private public key pair. Now here what we are going to do, I'm doing a cat on ID RSA only. So this is my private key. I'll copy this entire thing and paste over here. Okay, next, the destination directory. So I am going to give the bucket name because the destination directory is going to be our bucket name. Okay, So bucket name is unabstracted bucket. It's good. And destination file name could be any name that you choose. I would choose destination dot any format txt works. Okay, so what it will do is, so this piece of code will authenticate, okay, itself using this public private key, and it will transfer the file to this particular directory, and the file name is going to be destination.txt. Okay, now guys, let's clear this screen. Let me do an ls-ltra. Okay, you can see that we have these many files, and we also have a readme file. So I'm going to use this readme file to transfer to the SFTP server. So here in my code, you can see the local file is readme.md, and here I am opening the file and writing this file to the SFTP server. Okay. Finally, I am printing the list directory of the SFTP client that we created, and here it will list all the objects inside that directory. If the file transfer is successful, I'm printing file transferred from and to. So let's go ahead and run our Python code. So let me run here the particular IDE. Okay guys, so here we are getting a permission access denied error. So let's go and debug this. So guys, some weird thing happened, and when I debugged, I saw that this role was missing the policies. So in order to solve the problem of permission access denied, so what we have to do is we need to add the permissions, add policies that we created. Search for unabstracted. We need to set an add permission. Hope this will get loaded. Very good. Now let's go ahead and run this code once again. Okay guys, very good. This is the success. So this destination is the list of objects available on the S3, and here we got the print message that the file transferred from this location to our bucket and the destination file name. Okay, so in order to verify this, let's go ahead in the S3 bucket and refresh. Go to the object, refresh here. So you can see that the destination.txt file has appeared. Okay, and this is of the same size. Okay, now this is one way that we have verified. Okay, we can also see how we can log in from our terminal. So for that, what we have to do, we need to type in sftp -i idrs in the username abstracted at the server name. So the server name you can find here. Let's copy and paste. Let's hit enter guys. So we need to, so here we are authenticating, and we will add this key to our known hosts. So we press yes. So here it is trying to authenticate our private key from the public key that we pasted in the SFTP server. So this is our private key that we passed, and the public key we have pasted in the SFTP server some time back. If you don't remember or recall it, you can just move back and have a look. So now let's do an ls here. So we are logged in into the SFTP server now. Let's do an ls over here to list the objects inside the server. You can see that we have the destination.txt file created. And if we do a pwd, which is the present working directory, so you can see that we are inside /unabstracted bucket that we created. So this is it, guys. I think if you have any confusion or any doubt, please do comment. If you find the video helpful, please like, share and subscribe, as your action keeps me motivated to bring such videos to the wider audience. Thank you, guys. Cheers.